Hi guys, so recently my mom bought me this cake pan right here. Take a look at it. Cool, right? I just thought it looked weird with all these steps. That is until I flipped it over and I soon realized that it's a 3-tiered layered cake pan. It's all inclusive. I imagine we could put like a Jello gelatin mold in this too. But I wanted to make a cake and I wasn't sure which one of my cake batters I was going to use because I figured in this type of a mold and with all the layers that it would have to be very dense so it can stand up, right? So as I was reading the paperwork that came with the pan, one little sheet of paper that told me how to care for it, I flipped it over and I found a recipe and it says 3-tier chocolate cake with a caramel frosting. So of course, you know me, I have to make it. I've never made this cake before. I'm going to be testing it on camera. You guys have fun with me. I'm not going to follow everything according to what they said. I'm going to use all the ingredients that it calls for, but I'm not going to make it well, I'm going to bake it the way they say, but I'm not going to make it the way they say, because they say combine all the ingredients in a large mixing bowl and mix well, and then grease the pan, put it in, and bake it for an hour and 20 minutes thereabouts on 325. Well, I'm going to bake it on 325 because I do think slow and low is the way to go with this depth of the pan, but I'm definitely not going to mix it the way they say because with my knowledge of cake making, I don't think that's going to fly. So come along with me, guys, as we test try this 3-tier chocolate cake in this fantastic new pan. You're watching the Bear Pantry Show. One cup of shortening, 2 cups of regular white sugar, 3 cups of all-purpose flour that I've sifted, a 1/3 cup of baking cocoa, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 2 cups of buttermilk. These are the ingredients for the frosting. In the saucepan, I have 1 cup of regular white sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar firmly packed. This is 1/2 cup of regular milk, 1 stick of butter, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So I'm using my hand mixer to cream the shortening and the sugar together for about 15 minutes. Always remember to use your spatula to scrape down the bowl when you're making batter, okay? Now it's time to add the eggs in one at a time as I continue blending with my hand mixer. And then now it's time for the vanilla extract, and I'm just going to allow this to go for a few more minutes before I give this a rest and work on the dry ingredients. What I'm doing is sifting in the baking cocoa into the flour. And even if you don't sift the flour in making cakes, always sift the baking cocoa because it tends to get lumpy. Now I'm adding in the baking soda and then using my whisk, I'm going to go ahead and blend the dry ingredients together until it's well combined. And then what I do now is add like a 1/3 at a time, so this is a 1/3 of the dry. And then I use the hand mixer to go on ahead, blend this up really well before adding any of the wet. And now it's time to add some of the wet, and I'm going to add about a 1/3, and I'm just eyeballing, okay? This is the buttermilk. In the future, I'm going to change the buttermilk out for coconut milk and then tell you guys how that comes out. Now, this is the rest of the dry ingredients, and it's getting kind of difficult now to use my hand mixer. It's getting really, really thick on me, so I have to add all the rest of the wet, and pretty much I can feel the strain on the hand mixer. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off and give it a rest, clean off the feet of it, and then use my spatula and some elbow grease to just go on ahead and stir this batter up. It's really, really thick. I want to make sure there's nothing dry on the bottom, and it's really difficult to work with because it's really thick, guys. So now what I have to do is get my cake pan prepared, and I'm going to grease and flour that. So let's move over to that part. Alright guys, so now it's time to flour the cake pan. To grease my cake pans, I always use butter and some paper towel. I never spray anything from the cans because we're all asthmatic, so I try not to spray things from cans if I don't have to. Now I'm flouring, and I dump out the excess flour, and now it's time to put the batter in. And I put the first batch in the lower level of the pan because you know the pan is kind of like in steps, and just kind of scrape the rest out. It's kind of heavy in my other hand here because it's in this glass bowl. But I'm getting the last little bit out, and then I use my spatula to just go ahead and level off the batter that's in the pan. And it's kind of hard to work with because it's so thick. So I clean off my spatula, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my little trick, my little magic here. Just kind of slam it down to make sure it's even. Now into the oven it goes on 325 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's going to go for a while, for about an hour and 20 minutes. Now I check it with a skewer because a toothpick's not going to work on this. It comes out clean, so we're done. Alright, so I've set the cake to cool. It's been cooling for about 15 minutes. Still kind of warm to touch, but I want to go ahead and kind of release the edges. And of course, when I'm doing that, I'm only getting that layer, okay? And it says that I'm supposed to use a toothpick to check this. You guys saw that I used a skewer, because you can't use a toothpick for this. Okay, I'm so excited. It's finally cooled enough for me to dump it out. Let's take a look at what it looks like. Oh my goodness, this is so cute. Hi guys, so while I'm waiting for the cake to cool off, we're gonna go ahead and start the frosting, all right? Everything's here on the stove behind me, so let's get started. All right, so I've turned the fire on medium and I'm adding the milk to the sugars that are already in the saucepan. And I'm adding the butter because I'm supposed to put all the ingredients in the pan except for the vanilla extract. And so the butter kind of melted on me, but that's okay. I'm using my wooden spoon to just mix all the ingredients in the pan so that they can get blended in really well. And then now I'm supposed to bring this to a boil, and that will happen right here in a minute or so. And I'm only supposed to let it cook for a minute after it comes to a boil. And then take it back over to the counter, pour it in a mixing bowl. And then I'm going to use my hand mixer. And I'm going to go ahead, well, first of all, I'm going to put the vanilla extract in. Use the hand mixer to go ahead and just blend this until the solution cools down. So it takes about 3 to 5 minutes, and it does get a little bit thicker, but it doesn't feel like this is going to become a frosting for me. It feels like it's going to be more like a glaze. So take a look, see, it is a glaze. This is what you get when you test the cake on camera, guys, see? It's a glaze. It smells awesome, though. It smells like caramel. And I'm just going to drizzle it on top of the cake, make a big mess if I have to, and just kind of lick the rest off, you know? Use my little cake knife, and it's cutting really, really good. And just go into all the layers and just go ahead and get the first piece out. And it looks pretty good. It's not as chocolatey as I expected, but it looks pretty good. So take a look, see? Isn't that gorgeous? It looks wonderful, and it smells good too. Don't forget to check out my website to purchase copies of any of the books. Go to bearpantryshow.com and click on the store tab. So recently, while editing some of my videos, I heard like this obnoxious noise in it, like a background type ambient noise. So I had to like recreate some clips to isolate where that noise was coming from. I thought it might be the fridge humming because it kind of started right when the fridge came. But I finally found out that it's the vent that's right up here. I'll show you guys. It's always been there, but it doesn't always roll and make that sound when I'm talking on camera because it's not always on. But because it's been so hot recently in Southern California, it seems like it's on all the time. And so it's like making that noise right there. So I've gone back to my mic right now. It's a little bit more work for me to do all that, but you know what? It's worth it if the sound quality is good. So let's get into the cake. Wasn't that cake fantastic? I really, really love this pan that my mom bought for me, and I'm really, really excited when people give me gifts for the kitchen. I have another friend that always goes to garage sales and stuff like that and gets me unique things for the kitchen. And I really and truly appreciate it. I have my friend Sharon. Hi Sharon, shout out to you. I know you're working hard. We miss you so much. And she always blesses the Bear Pantry Show with stuff too. So I'm really, really grateful. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. If you liked the video, hit like below. Share it with your friends and family for me. And until I see you guys again, take care.